Captain Jin-Ho sat in the control room of the human space station, looking at the vast darkness of space before him. Stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across black silk. He had worked in this control room for 20 years, and every single day looked almost the same. Ships came and went. Messages arrived from distant colonies. Reports were filed about trade and science and peaceful cooperation with alien races. Nothing much ever happened. Nothing much ever changed. But today felt different. Jin-Ho did not know why he felt this way. It was just a feeling in his chest, like something was about to crack. He tried to ignore it and returned his attention to the computer screens. One screen showed the position of all ships near Earth. Another screen showed messages coming from the Galactic Council headquarters. Another screen showed energy readings from nearby space stations. Everything looked normal. Then the alarm started, not the normal alarm that meant a ship was arriving. This was different. This was the emergency alarm, the one that only sounded when something very important was happening. Jin-Ho jumped from his chair. His hands moved quickly over the keyboard. What was going on? A message appeared on the screen. It said, "Incoming transmission from Galactic Council. Priority level, maximum. Broadcast to all human settlements immediately." Jin-Ho's heart began to beat faster. He had never seen a message like this before. He pressed the button to accept the transmission. Within seconds, the large screen on the wall flickered to life. A figure appeared. It was Ambassador Kieran from the Galactic Council. His blue skin looked cold and hard. His black eyes showed no emotion. "Greetings," Kieran said, but his voice did not sound friendly. "I am Ambassador Kieran. I come with a message from the Galactic Council to all human settlements and colonies. This message must be heard by every human in the universe. Please ensure that all humans receive this information." Jin-Ho immediately sent the signal to broadcast this message everywhere. On Earth, in cities and towns, people stopped what they were doing. In schools, children sat in circles around screens. In offices, workers paused their work. In homes, families gathered to watch. Across all the colonies in space, humans turned their attention to listen. Kieran continued. "For 3,000 years, humans have lived as members of the Galactic Council. You have been peaceful. You have followed our rules. You have lived quietly. For this, the Council has allowed you to keep your colonies and your resources." Jin-Ho listened carefully. Something was coming. He could feel it. "But," Kieran said, and his voice became harder and colder, "the Council has made a decision. We have decided that the human colony on Kepler 452b contains resources that are too valuable to remain under human control. These resources are needed by all members of the Galactic Council. Therefore, the Council demands that all humans leave this colony immediately. You must take nothing with you. Everything you have built there now belongs to the Council." Kieran paused. His eyes seemed to look directly at every human in the universe at the same time. "You have 30 rotations, which equals 30 Earth days. To comply with this order," Kieran said, "if you do not leave peacefully and surrender all resources, the Galactic Council military forces will arrive and take what we need by force. We will remove all humans from the colony. We will destroy any ships that resist. Any humans who fight will be eliminated. This is not a request. This is an order. You have 30 days." The transmission ended. The screen went black. In that moment, in every human city and town and colony, something happened at exactly the same time. It was not an action that humans had planned. It was not something organized by the government. It just happened. Every single human, in that moment, smiled. It was not a smile of happiness. It was not a smile of sadness. It was a smile that meant something. It was a smile that said, "We remember." It was a smile that said, "Finally, they have done it." It was a smile that contained 3,000 years of waiting. Jinho felt his face smiling too. He did not tell his face to smile. It just happened. His body knew something that his thinking mind had not caught up with yet. In Seoul, Professor Min-soo was teaching a class of young students about the history of peace. He was explaining how humans had chosen to stop fighting 3,000 years ago. When the message came through, he stopped his lecture. He looked at his students. They all looked shocked. They all looked scared. But then, slowly, they began to smile. And Professor Min-soo smiled with them. He knew what the smile meant. His grandfather had told him stories about the smile. His grandfather had said that if the smile ever came, it would mean that someone had finally forgotten to fear humans. In the mining colonies on Mars, workers stopped what they were doing. They heard the message. They heard the threat. And they smiled. They smiled because they knew something that the Galactic Council did not know. They knew that humans were not what they seemed. All across the human civilization, in places that people did not know existed, other things began to happen. Deep underground on the moon of Europa, in hidden bases on asteroids, in protected facilities beneath oceans, something started to wake up. It was not a sound that anyone could hear. It was not a vibration that anyone could feel. But something was moving. Something was turning on. Something was opening its eyes after a very, very long sleep. Jinho sat back in his chair and looked at the empty space on his screen where Kieran's face had been. He thought about what his grandmother had told him when he was young. She had whispered stories in the dark about times long ago. She had told him that someday someone would make a mistake. Someday someone would forget to respect humanity. Someday someone would threaten what humans had built. And when that day came, his grandmother had said, humans would have to make a choice. They could stay quiet and peaceful, or they could remember what they really were. Jinho picked up his personal communication device. He sent a simple message to Minister Park Jun, the leader of all humans. The message said only a few words. The message came. The smiles have started. What are your orders? For several minutes, nothing happened. Then a reply came back. The reply was just 3 words. Send the signal. Jinho understood. He stood up from his chair. He walked to a control panel that had not been used for a very long time. It had been locked away, hidden behind metal doors. He opened the metal doors. Inside was a single red button. Just one red button. His hands moved slowly. He placed his finger on the button. He thought about what this button would do. He thought about what would happen if he pressed it. He thought about 3,000 years of peace that might be ending. Then Jinho pressed the button. The button made a soft clicking sound, and in that moment, across all of human space, across all the hidden places, across all the secret facilities, the machines began to turn on. Slowly at first, then faster. The lights came on, red lights, green lights, blue lights. Computers that had been asleep for 3,000 years began to wake up. And in control rooms in hidden bases, other humans pressed the same button, or sent the same signal, or opened the same sealed doors. The sleeping giant was beginning to wake. In space, looking at the Earth from far away, the alien ships of the Galactic Council could not see what was happening. Their sensors showed no changes. They detected no new activity. They still believed that humanity was weak and peaceful and would never dare to resist. They had no idea that they had just made the biggest mistake of their entire existence. Deep inside the asteroid number 2847X, in a facility that did not appear on any official map, 3,000 workers moved through corridors that had been carved from solid rock. These workers had lived here for their entire lives. Some of them had never seen the sun. Some of them had never walked on a planet. This asteroid was their home, and they guarded it with their entire existence. Dr. Sung Jin was the main scientist in charge of this facility. She was a woman of 60 years old, with gray hair and intelligent eyes. She had been born in this facility. Her mother had been born in this facility. Her grandmother had been born in this facility. This was the way things worked for her family. Each generation came here and took responsibility for keeping this place secret and safe. Today, Sung Jin was in the main control room. This room was the heart of everything. All the information from all the hidden human bases was gathered here. All the systems were connected to this room, and all the orders came through this room. The message came at the exact same moment it was broadcasted to all humans. Sung Jin watched on her screen as Ambassador Kiran made his demands. She watched as he gave the 30-day ultimatum. She watched as he told humans that they must surrender everything. When the message ended, Sung Jin looked at the faces of her workers. Many of them looked scared. Some looked angry. All of them looked to Sung Jin for guidance. "How bad is this?" asked one of her assistants, a young man named Do Hyun. "This is the moment we have been waiting for," Sung Jin said quietly. "This is the moment that 3,000 people worked for. This is the moment that we have been preparing for since we were born." Do Hyun looked confused. He did not understand. Sung Jin realized that he was too young to remember the old stories. Most young humans did not know about the archives. Most young humans did not know what was hidden beneath the asteroid bases and in the underground facilities and in the secret places. "Come with me," Sung Jin said. "I want to show you something." Sung Jin and Do Hyun walked deeper into the facility. They passed through many corridors. They went down many elevators. They walked until they reached a section of the facility that was different from the others. This section was cold. This section was dark. This section felt like a tomb. They came to a large metal door. Sung Jin placed her hand on a reader. The reader scanned her hand. The door began to move, slowly, very slowly. It made sounds like a giant waking up. Inside the door was a massive room. This room went down so deep that Do Hyun could not see the bottom. And in this room, arranged in perfect rows, were thousands of objects covered in protective material. "What is all this?" Do Hyun asked. "These are weapons," Sung Jin said. "These are ships. These are defense systems. These are all the tools that humanity created when we were still a warrior people. These are all the things that we hid away 3,000 years ago." Do Hyun's eyes became very wide. "Why? Why did we hide them?" "Because we were afraid," Sung Jin explained. "We were afraid of what we had become. We had created weapons that could destroy entire planets. We had built ships that could travel faster than light. We had technology so advanced that we did not understand it anymore. We were afraid that we would destroy ourselves. So we made a choice. We hid everything. We became peaceful. We became quiet." "And everyone forgot?" Do Hyun asked. "Not everyone," Sung Jin said. "My family did not forget. Other families did not forget. We kept the secret safe. We waited. We watched. We built more weapons in secret while everyone thought we were just a peaceful species doing scientific research." Sung Jin pressed a communication button on her wrist. She spoke into it. "Minister Park Jun, if you are hearing this, the button has been pressed. The signal has been sent. We are waiting for your confirmation to begin the awakening sequence." For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the response came back. It was just one word. "Proceed." Sung Jin turned to Do Hyun. "Now you will see something that nobody has seen in 3,000 years. Now you will see what we really are." She walked to a central console and began typing commands. Her hands moved quickly. She entered codes that had been passed down through her family for generations. She entered passwords that changed every year. She entered authorization sequences that required her genetic information and her voice. Then finally, she pressed the key that said, "Archive Awakening, Level 1, Activate." The asteroid shook. Not much, just a little, but everything inside the facility felt the tremor. The walls hummed, the lights brightened, The machines under the protective covering began to glow with soft lights. "It is happening," Sung Jin said quietly. "The archives are waking up. On every asteroid base, in every underground facility, in every secret location. The same thing was happening. Scientists and guardians and workers were entering codes and pressing buttons. They were waking up the machines. They were turning on the computers. They were bringing 3,000 years of sleeping technology back to life. Deep in the ocean of Europa, beneath miles of ice and water, another facility began to wake up. In tunnels underneath the mountains of Earth, machines started to turn on. In laboratories hidden inside asteroids throughout the solar system, systems came online. All across human space, in places that the galaxy did not know existed, the archives were awakening. Back in the main facility on asteroid 2847X, Sung Jin and Do Hyun watched as the weapons began to move. Protective coverings slid away. Power flowed through cables. Screens lit up. Machines that had not worked in 3,000 years began to function again. "How many weapons are we talking about?" Do Hyun asked. "Millions," Sung Jin said. "We have military platforms that could destroy entire star systems. We have ships that could travel across the galaxy in weeks instead of months. We have technology that the Galactic Council does not even know is possible." "But we never used them," Do Hyun said. "No," Sung Jin agreed. "We never used them. We became peaceful. We helped other races. We made friends. We showed the galaxy that we were not a threat. We proved that we had chosen peace." "But now?" Do Hyun asked. "Now," Sung Jin said, "the Galactic Council needs to learn something very important. They need to learn that the most dangerous enemy is one that you did not know was dangerous. They need to learn what happens when you threaten a species that has the power to defend itself, but chose not to for 3,000 years. Do Hyun understood. He nodded slowly. Sung Jin looked at the awakening weapons and felt something strange in her heart. It was not pride. It was not anger. It was sadness. It was the sadness of knowing that the peace was ending. It was the sadness of knowing that humanity would have to remember how to be dangerous. But she also felt something else. She felt hope. She felt the hope that maybe, just maybe, showing the galaxy what they could do would be enough. Maybe they would not have to actually use these weapons. Maybe just waking them up would be enough to make the Galactic Council understand that they had made a mistake. The machines continued to wake up. The lights grew brighter. And throughout human space, workers and scientists and guardians smiled the same smile that all humans had smiled when they heard the threat. It was the smile of a people who had finally been given permission to stop pretending. The sleeping giant was truly awake now. The emergency meeting room in Seoul was filled with tension. All the most important leaders of humanity sat around a long black table. They were military generals. They were government officials. They were scientists. They were economists. They were diplomats. Each one represented a different part of human civilization. Minister Park Jun sat at the head of the table. He was a tall man with a serious face. He had been the leader of humanity for 15 years. In those 15 years, there had never been any real crisis. Everything had been peaceful. Everything had been organized. Everything had worked according to plan. But now, something had changed. "The archives are 95% active," reported General Jin Woo. He was the head of all human military forces. His face was calm, but his hands were shaking slightly. "We have 5,000 weapons platforms coming online. We have 3,000 military ships that were in storage. We have defense systems activating all across human space. In another 12 hours, we will have full military readiness." "And the Galactic Council?" asked Minister Park Jun. "The Council military forces are still positioned at the border of our space," said Ambassador Coa. She was the main human representative to the Galactic Council. "They have not moved. They have not attacked. They seem to be waiting to see if we will comply with their demands. Of course they are waiting, said Dr. Hansol. He was the head of human science. They cannot believe that we would resist. They think we are peaceful and weak. They think we have no choice but to give them what they want. Park Jun stood up. He walked to the window and looked out at Seoul. The city was bright with lights. The people were going about their lives. They did not know what their leaders were discussing. They did not know that humanity was about to change forever. We have to make a decision, Park Jun said. We can surrender to the Galactic Council. We can give them Kepler 452b. We can continue to pretend that we are a peaceful species, or we can show them what we really are. If we show them, there is a chance of war, General Jinwoo said. And if we do not show them, there is a certainty of subjugation, Park Jun replied. They will take everything from us. They will treat us like we are weak. We will lose our colonies. We will lose our resources. We will lose our dignity. And worst of all, other races will learn that if they threaten us, we will just surrender. He turned to face the room. I did not choose this situation, Park Jun said. The Galactic Council chose it. But now that it is here, we must respond correctly. What do you propose? Asked Minister Kim Hai. She was in charge of human economy and resources. I propose that we invite Ambassador Kieran to a meeting, Park Jun said. I propose that we show him one thing. Just one thing. I propose that we show him that we are not who he thinks we are. General Jinwoo smiled. And what will that one thing be? The truth, Park Jun said simply. Over the next few hours, messages were sent. A neutral space station between human space and Galactic Council space was prepared for a meeting. Ambassador Kieran was invited to come alone. It was unusual. It was strange. But Kieran accepted. He wanted to see what the humans had to say. When Kieran arrived at the station, he was surprised to find only one human waiting for him. It was Minister Park Jun. Just one man, alone. No soldiers, no guards, no weapons. Kieran felt confident. This would be easy. The humans were surrendering already. They knew they could not resist. Minister Park Jun, Kieran said with a smile that was not warm. I see you have come alone to discuss the terms of your surrender. Not exactly, Park Jun said. He placed a small device on the table. I have come to show you something. Kieran looked at the device. What is it? It is a record of all human military activity for the past 300 years, Park Jun explained. It is a catalog of all the weapon systems we have built while you thought we were just doing peaceful research. It is a list of all the weapons platforms that are currently online. It is the proof that the Galactic Council made a very large mistake when you threatened us. Kieran's face went white. This is impossible. It is not impossible, Park Jun said. It is real. 3,000 years ago, humans were a warrior species. We were so advanced that we almost destroyed the entire galaxy. We created weapons that could crack planets. We built ships that could travel between stars in mere weeks. We had knowledge that made us more powerful than any other civilization in the galaxy. But we were afraid of this power. So we made a choice. We hid our weapons. We hid our technology. We hid our knowledge. We promised to become peaceful, and we kept that promise. For 3,000 years, we were peaceful. We helped other races. We built friendships. We became the species that everyone respected, but no one feared. Kieran tried to stand up, but Park Jun gestured for him to stay seated. But, Park Jun continued, we did not forget. We did not give up our weapons. We kept them. We improved them. We built new weapons using ancient knowledge. We prepared for the day when someone would forget to respect us. We prepared for the day when someone would threaten us. Today is that day, Park Jun said. You threatened us because you believed we were weak, but we are not weak. We were just sleeping. Kieran's hands shook as he looked at the device. On it were specifications for weapons that should not exist. On it were plans for defense systems that were mathematically impossible. On it were records of military development that stretched back centuries. "What do you want?" Kieran asked quietly. "We want Kepler 452b to remain ours," Park Jun said. "We want to be treated as equals in the Galactic Council, not as a junior race. We want respect. And we want the Galactic Council to understand that we are not a threat to them as long as they are not a threat to us." Kieran nodded slowly. He understood. He understood that the Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. He understood that humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. "I will bring this to the Council," Kieran said. His voice was shaking. "I will tell them what I have learned." "Good," Park Jun said. He picked up the device. "Go. Tell them. Tell them that the sleeping giant has woken up. Tell them that we did not want to wake up, but they gave us no choice." Kieran left the station quickly. He went directly to the Galactic Council chamber, and when he arrived, everything changed. The Galactic Council was about to face a choice that would change the entire galaxy forever. In Seoul, Minister Park Jun watched the departure on a monitor. He had done what needed to be done. He had shown the truth. Now the galaxy would have to decide what to do with that truth. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous. It was built on a massive space station that floated between 7 stars. Inside this chamber, representatives from 900 different species gathered to make decisions about the entire galaxy. They came from planets of ice. They came from planets of fire. They came from dimensions that humans could barely understand. They were diverse, powerful, and had never been truly united. Ambassador Kieran stood in the center of the chamber. All 900 representatives looked at him. They wanted to know why he had called this emergency meeting. "I have information about the human situation," Kieran began. His voice was shaking. He did not sound confident anymore. "I have met with Minister Park Jun. I have received intelligence about human military capabilities. This intelligence changes everything." He activated the information display. Images and specifications appeared on screens throughout the chamber. The representatives stared in shock. The information was impossible. The weapons described should not exist. The technology should not be possible. The military capacity should not be real, but it was real. "What is this?" demanded a representative from the Zan Collective. "These specifications, if they are accurate, humans are more technologically advanced than anyone in this chamber." "Exactly," Kieran said. "Humans possess military capabilities that far exceed our own. They have weapons that could destroy our fleets. They have defense systems that our weapons cannot penetrate. They have technology that we do not even know how to build." The chamber erupted into chaos. Everyone was talking at the same time. Some representatives wanted to attack humanity immediately. They believed that if humans were so powerful, they should be destroyed before they could threaten anyone. Other representatives wanted to negotiate. They believed that humans could be reasonable. Some wanted to run away. They wanted to abandon human space and let humans do whatever they wanted. Finally, an ancient voice cut through the noise. It belonged to Elder Theron. Theron was so old that he could remember times before the Galactic Council even existed. Theron had lived through wars and peace and everything in between. Theron was respected by everyone. "I remember something," Theron said. "I remember a time 3,000 years ago when humans were exactly like this. We feared them. We prepared to attack them. But then something happened. Humans chose to give up their power. Humans chose to become peaceful. We made a treaty with them. We agreed to let them live among us as peaceful members of our civilization." "That was then," said a representative from the Kreth Empire. "This is now. They are obviously a threat. They have lied to us for 3,000 years. They have hidden their weapons. They have deceived us. They cannot be trusted. Or, said Elder Theron slowly, they have shown us something important. They have shown us that they are strong enough to have weapons and yet choose not to use them. They have shown us that true peace is not the choice of the weak. True peace is the choice of the strong. General Vor, who commanded all Galactic Council military forces, stood up. He had a face like a mountain and eyes like steel. If humans attack us, we will be destroyed, Vor said. This was not a threat. This was just a fact. Our combined military forces would lose to human forces. We can calculate this. The mathematics are clear. Humans are more advanced than us. Humans have better weapons than us. Humans would win a war. So what do you propose? Asked another representative. Do we just give humans everything they want? No, said Vor. I propose that we apologize. I propose that we recognize human territory as sovereign. I propose that we give humans an equal voice in the Galactic Council. I propose that we treat humans with the respect that they have earned by their strength and their wisdom. Their wisdom? Asked the Kreth representative. What wisdom is there in deceiving everyone for 3,000 years? The wisdom, said Elder Theron, of understanding that power and peace are not opposites. The wisdom of knowing that the most powerful thing a civilization can do is choose not to use its power for conquest. The wisdom of building a peaceful galaxy not by being weak, but by being strong enough to afford peace. The debate continued for many hours. Representatives argued with each other. They discussed strategy. They considered options. They thought about what it would mean if they refused to comply with the human demands. Finally, the vote was called. Would the Galactic Council maintain its threat to humans? Would the Council attempt to take the Kepler 452b colony by force? The vote was clear. 873 representatives voted to accept human sovereignty. Only 27 representatives voted to continue the threat. The motion to attack humanity was defeated. A new proposal was made. Would the Galactic Council apologize to humans? Would the Council recognize Kepler 452b as human territory? Would the Council offer humans new positions of power in the Council leadership? This vote was almost unanimous. 894 representatives voted yes. Only 6 voted no. Elder Theron stood up again. Let it be recorded that on this day the Galactic Council learned something that humans already knew. We learned that true strength lies not in weapons or power, but in the wisdom to use that power responsibly. We have decided to invite humanity into real partnership. We have decided to acknowledge their sovereignty. We have decided to respect them not as a junior member of our community, but as an equal partner. Messages were sent immediately to human space. The messages said that the Council had changed its mind. The messages said that Kepler 452b was now recognized as human territory. The messages said that humanity was invited to take leadership positions in the Galactic Council. The messages said that the Council apologized for its arrogance and its mistake, and most importantly, the messages said something else. The messages said, "We understand now. We understand that you chose peace not because you were weak, but because you were strong. We understand that you are dangerous, which is why you are trustworthy. We understand that you have taught us something that we should have learned long ago, that wisdom and strength are the same thing." In Seoul, when Minister Park Jun received the messages, he smiled. It was the same smile that all humans had smiled when they heard the threat. It was the smile of a people who had proven something important about themselves. It was the smile of a species that had shown the galaxy what true power really meant. The crisis was over. But the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy would never forget that humans were dangerous. And because humans were dangerous, the galaxy could finally trust them to lead. The sun was setting over Seoul when the official announcement came. The sky turned orange and red and purple. People in the street stopped walking and looked up at the screens that appeared everywhere on buildings and poles and street corners. The message was simple and clear. The crisis has ended. The Galactic Council has recognized our sovereignty. Kepler 452b is ours. We are now equal partners in the Galactic Council. This message is being transmitted to all human settlements, colonies, and stations. Please gather in your communities to hear a message from Minister Park Jun. In cities across the world, in colonies across the solar system, in stations scattered throughout human space, humans gathered to watch the broadcast. There were billions of people watching. They were waiting to hear from their leader. They were waiting to know what would happen next. Minister Park Jun appeared on the screens. He was sitting in the government chamber in Seoul. Behind him was the flag of humanity. It was a flag that showed the Earth and the stars together. It showed humans as part of something much larger. People of Earth and people of all human colonies, Park Jun began. I am speaking to you today to tell you that something wonderful has happened. The Galactic Council has listened to us. They have recognized our rights. They have promised to treat us with respect and equality. The people watching cheered, but Park Jun raised his hand. He wanted to say more. But I want to tell you something else, he said. I want to tell you about what we did to achieve this, and I want to tell you about what we must do now. Park Jun stood up. He walked to a window. Outside the window, Seoul spread out beneath him. Millions of people lived in this city. Most of them had no idea about the weapons. Most of them had no idea about the archives. Most of them had no idea about what their civilization was really capable of. 3,000 years ago, Park Jun said, humanity made a choice. We were powerful. We had weapons that could destroy worlds. We had technology that made us superior to other races. But we were afraid of what we would do with that power. So we chose to put it all away. We chose to become peaceful. For 3,000 years, we lived this choice. We helped other races. We shared our knowledge. We became friends. We became what many people thought was the most peaceful species in the entire galaxy. But, Park Jun said, turning back to face the camera, we did not forget. Some people in our civilization remembered what we were. Some families kept the old knowledge safe. Some scientists continued to develop new weapons in secret. Some guardians protected our archives. And today, all of that was revealed. Today, the galaxy learned that peace and power are not opposites. Today, the galaxy learned that the most dangerous species can be the most trustworthy. Today, the galaxy learned what humans really are. Park Jun sat back down. His face was serious and thoughtful. Now we face a new choice, he said. The Galactic Council has invited us to take leadership positions. They have asked us to help guide the future of the galaxy. This is a great responsibility. This is a great honor. But I want to ask all of you, are we ready for this? He paused. The question hung in the air. I believe we are ready, Park Jun said. But not because of our weapons, not because of our technology. We are ready because we understand something that other races are still learning. We are ready because we know that true power lies in making the right choices, not in having the most weapons. I am proposing that we take our weapons and put them back to sleep. I am proposing that we return to the archives to standby mode. I am proposing that we show the galaxy that we are not using this moment of power to conquer or control. We are using this moment to lead with wisdom and kindness. The people watching were silent. Was their leader really suggesting that they give up their weapons? Was he really suggesting that they return to being peaceful after they had just shown the galaxy what they could do? I know this seems strange, Park Jun said, as if he could read their thoughts. I know that many of you want to keep our weapons active. I know that many of you want to use our power to make sure we are never threatened again. I understand this. It is natural to feel this way. But remember this. If we use our power to threaten others, we become what we chose not to become 3,000 years ago. If we keep our weapons active, if we use them to dominate, if we conquer other species, then we prove that we were right to fear our own power. Instead, Park Jun said, I am proposing that we do something different. I am proposing that we show the galaxy what we have learned. I am proposing that we demonstrate that humans can be trusted with great power because we have the wisdom to use it responsibly. Park Jun stood up one more time. In 1 hour, he announced, humans will begin the process of returning the archives to standby mode. Our weapons will be powered down. Our military systems will be put to sleep. We will return to being the peaceful species that we chose to be. But this time, everyone will know the truth. Everyone will know that we are peaceful not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to be peaceful. And I am inviting leaders from other species to visit our archive facilities. I am inviting them to see for themselves what we gave up. I am inviting them to understand that we could have been rulers of the galaxy, but we chose to be friends instead. The broadcast ended. And across all of human space, the process began. Deep in the archives, scientists and guardians began to power down the weapons. The machines that had woken up just days ago were being put back to sleep. The weapons that could destroy worlds were being hidden again. But this time was different. This time, everyone knew the truth. The Galactic Council knew. The other races knew. The entire galaxy knew that humans were not weak, peaceful species. Humans were powerful species that chose peace. In Seoul, an old woman named Lee Gu sat in her home and watched the sunset. She was very old. She had lived through much of humanity's peaceful era. She had told stories to her grandchildren about times long ago, and she had always wondered if the peaceful time would last forever. Now she knew the peaceful time would last. But it would last not because humans were weak. It would last because humans had learned the hardest lesson that any civilization could learn, that strength and wisdom were the same thing. That true power lay in using your strength to help others, not to hurt them. That the greatest achievement was not domination, but respect. Li Gu smiled. She smiled the same smile that all humans had smiled. It was a smile that said everything had turned out right. It was a smile that said the future would be good. It was a smile that said humans could finally stop pretending.